I want to go back to the fact that I became an accidental actress, and I'm not even being facetious or cute when I say that. It's a literal fact of my life that I never planned on being in front of the camera or being a part of the profession that I'm finally identified with so strongly.
Lisa, staying with identity, because much of the book is, of course, it's your journey, but it's also about identity. And there you were, Calcutta via Poland and Canada, back to Bombay, back to your very Bollywood Indian roots in many ways. How did you sort of navigate and negotiate? Because you kept going sort of back and forth, New York and Toronto, and moved to LA, and then came back to Bombay, and the circle continues. How do you see identity, especially in today's time, where travel, while it's become easier, has become much more difficult to move to another country than it was before? How do you see identity and migration?
That's very ironic, isn't it? And that's an excellent question. So I just wanted to touch on the issue of identity, which has been, it's created a lot of conflict in my personal history, in my personal life, in my view of the world. And it's also presented a great struggle for me, and perhaps that is where also good writing comes from. It's this impulse to be able to share the inner struggle, to somehow give it shape and form and articulate it. And in my life, identity was not only defined by blood and, my ethnic origins or being of mixed blood, and that, although that was complex enough, but it was also defined by movement, and it was also, in a sense, defined by how other people perceived me. Because I want to go back to the fact that I became an accidental actress, and I'm not even being facetious or cute when I say that. It's a literal fact of my life that I never planned on being in front of the camera or being a part of the profession that I'm finally identified with so strongly. So it was a great struggle for me to be able to marry. It's on some level, my life became a split screen. There was a perception of me with, or whatever we perceive so-called celebrities or actresses to be. And it's a long list of things. Obviously, vain and, concerned with what side we're photographed in, and, and concerned with clothes and et cetera, et cetera. But there was such a strong inner life of mine that was, existing in parallel. And there's also a little part of me that has always broken away and watched, has been the observer. So it's created, I guess, maybe very fertile conditions to watch myself, to be a part of the action, and yet simultaneously watch myself and be able to take notes on, my experiences and even how people perceive me, which is, as I said, a big part of my identity. So, for instance, in India, there is this very strong typecasting that this is who you are, and basically stay in your lane. Even writing the book and presenting my book close to the bone has been a bit of a challenge. For instance, even from marketing it, I do not perceive it as a celebrity memoir. It's very, very tricky. And, but then again, which genre does it fall into? And people think, well, I think I know everything about her. I've read everything about her. Okay, this model, actress, cancer, bus, what is there to find out? But, I hope that when you actually, obviously, enter the words of the book, you'll understand that it's my, it's really my lifeline. It became sort of my lifeboat and my ability to reach out to everyone. Because how do we connect? We connect through our failures. We connect through our obstacles. We connect through the ways that we are broken. So this is actually a way of breaking open my genes, breaking open my ribs, and actually, trying to present my heart on a platter. But to go back to the question of identity, so of course in India I'm perceived in a different way. Then of course I had to, at a point I felt very suffocated by the way that I was perceived. I wasn't able to actually break out of this glamour tag that I had and be able to pursue things that were close to my heart, to perhaps curate art, to write, and be, taken seriously, to pursue perhaps roles in films that were not mainstream commercial roles. They were not offered to me in the end of the 90s. And I actually ended up saying no to a lot of very mainstream very lucrative offers. And I had to leave. I had to reinvent myself. I went to London in order to reinvent myself. I became a student. And yet that being identified became a very strong shadow that shadowed me everywhere I went. Even as I was trying to also develop my own voice and give voice to my inner life as well.
If you've enjoyed the conversation that you just heard, do subscribe to our channel for much more.